voila. It's really good. It's really hot. Something I've missed the most during this time of social distancing has been going to my favorite Italian restaurant and ordering up a steaming hot plate of fresh pasta. You can eat dried pasta all day long, and believe me, I have, but there's just something next level about fresh pasta. So if your go-to order is like mine, gnocchi, that's what we're gonna do today. Teach you how to make homemade gnocchi. So this is the simplest recipe I usually go for, and it starts with 2 baked potatoes. I roast them in a 425 degree oven, 1 egg and 1 cup of flour. You're probably asking yourself why my measuring cup doesn't have a handle, and the answer is it did about 3 seconds ago. And then you're also gonna need a pinch of nutmeg, some salt, and pepper. So to get started, I'm just going to cut my baked potatoes lengthwise. And I'm just gonna start by scooping out the baked potato. Time to mash. I have a masher today. You can use a ricer, which is kind of recommended because it makes this light, fluffy texture for the potato. Or you can just use a fork if you want to keep things simple. But I'm just gonna mash this until it gets pretty light and fluffy. So here are my mashed potatoes, and using your hand or a spoon, if you'd rather, just gonna form a little well for the egg to go in. Okay, here goes my egg. And I'm just gonna whisk it up before really starting to incorporate it with the rest of the potatoes. Now we're gonna add in my cup of flour. Now is when we'll start to be a little bit gentle because we really don't wanna overwork this dough. Almost forgot. Pinch of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. 1/4 teaspoon? This one I'm just gonna guesstimate. So right now, after about a minute of kneading, it's still pretty wet. And when I go back to work with it again, I'll flour my hands a little bit so it doesn't stick to my hands so much. I think this looks like a pretty solid dough ball. So now, back to my cutting board. I'm gonna take a little bit more flour to dust the surface of the board. I still don't want to incorporate too much more flour. It'll change the consistency. And cut this into 4 even pieces, just like that. Now, each of these chunks are gonna turn into its own dough log and just roll it out till it's about 1 inch thick. With my knife still floured, I'm just gonna cut down, making little itty bitty bites. This is about the size you want, and you can dust them with just a little bit more flour. Again, this is the size. So now I'm just transferring them to a plate that has a little bit of flour on it already because I don't want them sticking. As I'm boiling my water to cook the gnocchi in, I'm just browning some meat to go in my meat sauce. I wanted to go with a tomato meat sauce tonight because it's pretty easy. And I could do a homemade tomato sauce, would be great, but I'm just using a jarred pantry staple tonight. If you don't have one of these tools, definitely invest in it. It's so handy for meat. And then I'll just leave this at a simmer. So the hardest part about making gnocchi that no one actually talks about is not making the gnocchi, it is transferring it to the boiling water. So I'm gonna use this handy spatula and try my best not to burn the heck out of myself. Ooh, see what I mean? So don't worry if it kind of clumps as it goes in. We did use enough flour so that it should separate once it hits the water. Ooh, but it will splash. And then once it's all in there, I'll just give it a little mix. So gnocchi's pretty cool because it'll tell you when it's done. It'll start to rise to the top, and that means it's fully cooked through once it starts floating. So now I can just skim the ones off the top and drop them straight into my sauce. It's doubled almost in size. This portion of gnocchi is the perfect amount for a serving of 2, but even if you want to double the recipe, go ahead and make them in 2 batches because you really don't want to overcrowd your boiling water. All right, so I'm just gonna finish this off with a little bit of, this is Italian blend cheese, but you can do some fresh Parmesan if you have that, or mozzarella, and then a little bit of basil for garnish. And voila. Let's give it a try. It's really good. Look at that steam.